down in the
Now I know y'all be loving this shit right here.
rolling, rolling, rolling,
What you gonna do?
rolling, rolling,
What you gonna do now?
down in the rolling, rolling, rolling.
Welcome to the Man United stream. Hope you're doing well. It's Monday morning. It feels like we're already midweek, but it seems like we're going to have one of those weeks, aren't we? We've got Wednesday night football to look forward to as well. We've got lots to talk about today. We've, of course, got to talk about the weekend's football. It's been crazy. It's been amazing. I've been enjoying watching Man United play and playing with this kind of style, this arrogance, we can call it. Can we call it arrogance? I don't think we can call it arrogance. We can just call it slick football. Watching United play and knowing full well that we've got more in the tank. That's what it felt like yesterday. Yesterday, first half performance, we all were unhappy. We all watched United and we were like, this is not good enough. This is not good enough. But we also knew that there was more to come. There was more in this tank. We were just in first or second gear, but we could have quite easily moved up the gears in the first half, and near the end of the first half, we nearly did. But we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about Michael Carrick's form with this United team. We're going to be talking about him getting the job, possibly. It looks like it's a done deal. I mean, it is in the bag, surely, for Michael Carrick, unless something catastrophic takes place between now and then. I think we haven't got much games for him to screw up either. I mean, look, there's not many games. I've counted 9 fixtures, maybe a little bit more. 24th of May, I'll go through the fixtures later on in the show. But yes, what a show we've got today. It's going to be epic because we've got lots to talk about. We've got to talk about the game. We've got to talk about the rest of the Premier League fixtures. We're going to be looking ahead to the midweek game as well. We're going to be taking a look at the players, who's been playing well, who's not. Michael Carrick even dropped in the hint that he's going to maybe change the team up. Ahmad might be back in the starting lineup for the next game. It's huge success right now. I'm loving it because, look, I'm enjoying Michael Carrick and the way he's carrying the team. He's carrying his team, but you know what I mean? The way he's making his team play. The way he's doing this is absolutely brilliant. I'm loving it so far because we are playing like a team that if the big if is if we'd got rid of Ruben Amorim maybe a couple of weeks earlier, just a couple of weeks earlier, to maybe bring Carrick in and pick up them important 6 or 9 points, we would be challenging for the Premier League. Am I upset about that? Not really. Look, let bygones be bygones. Whatever's happened has happened, and I'm really happy with United, the way they're playing right now. And the position we're in, we're up to third! We're up to third! Yes! Who would have thought that? A couple of months ago, before Carrick arrived, we were thinking about whether we will even reach the top 5 positions. We were concerned, and rightly so. We were rightly concerned because we were watching shit football from United. Ruben Amorim had no clue. The team was a complete mess. It was a complete mess. The players were falling apart. We just looked like a shit team, not knowing what to do. We just gave goals away for fun. We were like a knife through butter when it came to defending. We were just absolutely shit. Absolutely shit. But under Michael Carrick, the team has completely transformed. Our form is actually insane. It is insane, like it says on the thumbnail. I mean, I would never have predicted this form. I would have thought, right, okay, look, we're going to get some kind of bounce back, manager bounce back. But if you'd asked me at the start of Michael Carrick's tenure as the interim manager, what do you think, Travis, will be the likely results? I would have said, okay, do you know what? I think it'll be maybe 50-50. I think he'll win half of his games, lose half of his games, and we'll be quietly satisfied. We might just about reach the Champions League spots, given the disarray with the other teams around us and them not playing well. But then maybe we might just drop out and get into the Europa Leagues. That was my take on it. Personally, I was thinking, okay, look, surely he's not going to do a brilliant job because, Michael Carrick, he's been okay. I mean, we only saw him for about 4 games, I think, in his first stint as United manager, and then he went off. That wasn't long enough. And then he went off to Middlesbrough. He did a decent job at Middlesbrough. Again, you wouldn't think, he would be able to replicate anything near that when it came to Man United, given that the players were in such poor form and they were awful under Ruben Amorim, and we were thinking Ruben Amorim's this is the best we're going to get out of these players. This is the best that they're going to give to any manager. But come in, Michael Carrick, and take a bloody bow. Take a bow, my son. What a performance as a manager. He's clearly getting something out of him that we could only dream of. Look, there were some concerns. I will come to them about the United team in the first half. There were some concerns. I'm not going to completely glaze over the performance. It was a performance that had some worrying elements to it, but that was almost felt like old United, right? There was times in that game where I felt like, shit, we're back to old United here. We're back to Ruben Amorim. I actually were looking in the dugout thinking, has Carrick been replaced by Ruben Amorim somewhere? Has Ruben Amorim sneaked his way back into the dugout and he's calling the shots? Because that's what it felt like. It felt like really slow, drab build up, and it just wasn't fast enough. And I tweeted out halftime. I said, we need to increase our speed and passing has to be more accurate for us to get anything out of this game. Crystal Palace have got that goal to defend. They're going to defend for their lives in the second half. So we need to turn up the speed and turn up the accuracy and turn up the intensity overall. And we got that second half. And Carrick remained patient. He remained calm. He didn't panic. And then he made the right changes at the right time. Sesko starting, I felt like, gave us something different. Would I have started him? Personally, I was surprised he started. I'm going to be honest with you. I did not predict Sesko starting in yesterday's game. I thought Sesko was going to be on the bench and he's going to do his cameo appearance like he's been doing. But I thought he did well overall. I thought he was brilliant when the chance came for that goal, and it wasn't like an easy chance. That was a very, very difficult chance. We might be thinking, it was just put on the plate for him. No, it wasn't. It was still a distance away from the goal, and the amount of power that he got on that header to get it past Henderson. Seriously, there's not many players in the Premier League that could have done that, but Sesko is one of those players, and this is where we're going to finally get to see Sesko and his headering capability that we've all been talking about. Even before we signed him, everyone was going on about how Sesko is really good in the air and can really get some goals with his head, and we finally get to see that. We just need to be putting them balls in, and it's unfortunate that we haven't got many players that can bloody cross the ball in, right? We haven't got any players like that apart from Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes in that second half proved why he's so important to us as a player. He was sensational. I mean, I was just waxing lyrical about him throughout the second half, thinking this guy is carrying this team to another level. And when they brought the stats up about his assists throughout this season and no one was close to him, you understood why he's so important to us. Mbeumo had a quiet game, I thought. Mbeumo wasn't as lively or as difficult to kind of combat in the game. I thought he was all right. Kuna had a decent game. I wouldn't say he was brilliant, but he was decent enough, caused problems for the opposition. And Bruno Fernandes, as I've mentioned, was brilliant. Kobe Mainoo, Casemiro, brilliant performances. Now, many of you might be thinking, well, wait up, I don't even remember them playing. Well, that's it. That is it. That's what you want from your two midfielders. You want them to be doing the dirty work. You want them to not be in the limelight. You don't want to be hearing their name throughout the pitch. You want them to be quiet. You want them to just deal with the dirt, deal with the crap, deal with the defending, and just ping the ball out to Bruno Fernandes and let them do the damage. And that's what they did. Kobe Mainoo quietly gets on with his job. Casemiro, a little bit different. I mean, he put in some serious tackles yesterday and was very impressive. Back in our defence, Harry Maguire and Leniuro Martinez still out, unfortunately, still missing that key player. Leniuro, I'm going to be honest, in the first half, in the first 3 minutes, I think he was a bit weak when it came to the first goal. I think he could have been a bit more aggressive. I think any other defender on Lacroix would have maybe given him a bit of a shove just before the ball came to him and put him off, but he didn't. He was a bit weak, and that comes with experience again. So I'm not going to hold that against him. We know Lenny Euro is very good. He's solid throughout, but he has got a mistake in him here and there. Harry Maguire, again, very solid, very reliable at the back there. And then we had Luke Shaw picks up his injury. You know, I was just saying, this is shocking. We might get a whole season out of Luke Shaw. I mean, it was only a couple of days ago I was talking about Luke Shaw, and then boom, we get Luke Shaw, the customary injury that he picks up. We're going to have to wait and see. Nothing yet so far this morning out on Luke Shaw and his injury, how serious it is, whether it's just a knock or whether it's something that he might be out for a bit of time. This is Luke Shaw we're talking about, and it is a problem because, again, you don't want to have your players off. I mean, you want to have options, and of course I know we can play Dallo there, but ideally you don't want to be taking up that option. You want Luke Shaw to be there. He's the most comfortable in that position. And talking about Dallo, I think he had a mediocre game. I think it was okay. I don't think he did brilliant yesterday. I thought he was just about on the verge of a 6. Okay, I'll give him a 5 or a 6. I thought he was decent. I think in the first half, there was a few things he did that irritated me, but maybe it's just me that's micro-analysing Dallo right now. Mazraoui came on, of course, when Luke Shaw got injured, and I thought he did a decent job. He played well, but overall, United are cooking. Of course they're cooking. It was a big game. We went behind early on. We could have actually bottled it really quickly, but we didn't. We didn't bottle it, and I like that. I like the fact that we kind of came up with the requirements when it was needed. And the other important factor was that when we did get the lucky break with the penalty, and I'm going to call it a lucky break, I will call it a lucky break, because having looked at the footage, my personal opinion was that the foul actually occurred outside the box. Yes, obviously it hindered him, and yes, obviously the final collapse of Acuna was in the penalty area. So, I mean, it's a give and take, but okay, even if we got the penalty, I thought the red card was definitely harsh. It was harsh. I was watching the replay thinking, right, they've called the referee to watch it on screen himself. Now, normally that's a sign that VAR are saying to the ref, we think you got it wrong, or we think you need to kind of decide yourself, but yeah, change it, do something. So when the ref went to the camera, to the screen, I was thinking, shit, he's going to overrule it, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, whatever. And then when he came out and said, yeah, it's a pen, but auto red card, I was like, what? I mean, that is crazy. Again, most refs might have said, well, was it a goal-scoring opportunity? Could another defender have come in? I mean, I thought it was really hard. It was soft. I mean, you might disagree with me, but I'm trying to be the devil's advocate here. Not that I'm complaining, guys. I'm not complaining. So do not think Travis is sat here complaining about getting a penalty and getting a red card for the opposition. No, I wasn't. I was cheering really loud. I was buzzing. But at the same time, I was thinking, right, this is some luck that we really need to take advantage of. And thankfully, we did. Finally, we took advantage of the luck that we got on our plate. We've been handed this. We look, in previous games, we've been handed this kind of luck before. We did it against Everton. When they had a spat between players. Everton, I can't remember who it was, but the two players got into a bit of a fight amongst themselves, and one of them got sent off. And then I was thinking, right, this is perfect. This is perfect. This is the opportunity we needed. We didn't take advantage of it. So this time round, Carrick knew, right, okay, we're going to take advantage. And a good 20 minutes after the sending off, actually, the whole of second half, United just were knocking on the door. Knock, knock, knock. Give us another goal. And I love seeing that. United not just accepting a 2-1 win. They were going for the killer. They were going for the jugular. They were like saying, look, we're not going to risk a 2-1 lead. We want to get a 3-1 lead, so even if we lose another goal by whatever means, at least we can have that cushion. but it wasn't to be, and we finally kind of finished on 2-1. But overall, the performance was brilliant. Now we've got another game very soon. I mean, we've got another big game away from home against Newcastle. For me, this is going to be a big fixture. I know I say this every game. Every game we get over one game. Crystal Palace, a bit of a banana skin. I was thinking maybe they're a bit of a tricky team. They've not been playing bad. Newcastle lost on the weekend. But I still feel like Newcastle at home, St James's Park, Man United turning up to any ground is always a big lift for the home fans. They always want to see their teams get one over United, and this is not going to be any different. Man United going to St James's Park is on Wednesday night, 8:15 kickoff. It's going to be fireworks. It's going to be fireworks. United will have to come out fast out the blocks, because Newcastle will definitely do that. And it's a big game. It's a big game because the game after that, we've got Aston Villa at home. And we need to get something out of the Newcastle game so we can go into the Villa game knowing full well, psychologically, that we've got one over Villa. Because, again, Unai Emery is going to be out. He's going to be out for blood against United, because, this is it. These games, look, I'll actually go through the fixtures in a minute. I'll go through the fixtures because we'll discuss it as a group. I know you guys always like knowing what's around the corner and what we're looking at, because it's come to that stage in the Premier League where we do have to, unfortunately, start looking at the fixtures going ahead and seeing where we can pick up points and where we might be struggling. But right now, I think most teams will be looking at United thinking, shit, we do not want to play this United team. We don't want to play a United team that's beat City, Arsenal convincingly. I mean, they've gone on this run and they're not being stopped. West Ham got lucky. But anyway, let me come to the chat, because obviously I want to see what you boys are saying. How you feeling after the weekend's fixtures? How you feeling? I mean, Arsenal won. Chelsea kind of huffed and puffed, but I thought they weren't gonna have enough, and that's what transpired. Man City won as well, so it's keeping up a little bit of a pressure on Arsenal. I really would have liked to see a draw in the Chelsea-Arsenal game to just kind of give us some excitement at the top as well. A loss would have been perfect for United fans, because I still feel, I know it sounds crazy, but I still feel that these two teams above us can still screw up. There's still plenty of games for them to screw up. And United, if they carry on playing the way they are, we could really be there, man. Ready and waiting to take advantage of any slip up. It's unfortunate that we're just slightly behind, man. We've just got a little bit too much points to make up. If it was a matter of maybe 5 points or something, I would have really, or 6 points, even 6 point gap, I would have been right. Okay, this is 2 games. If Arsenal lose 2 games, United could be on top of them, and that it could. I mean, goal difference, of course, is a huge thing, but anyway, let me go to the chat. Let me see what everyone's saying. Sanus, welcome. Jim, welcome. Thanks for the membership, Jim. As always, man, appreciate that. You're a legend. We are all giving all the credit to Carrick, but our silent messiah is actually Kobe Mainoo. If Amrin had not ditched Kobe, he would be the manager now. Do you know what? I'm going to let you have that one, Luman. I'm going to let you have that one, because it's not a bad shout. Because, as you know, I'm a big Kobe Mainoo fan. And I like Kobe Mainoo, man. And I'm going to let you have that one. I think Kobe Mainoo is a silent, I won't say messiah, but I think he's a silent piece of the jigsaw that is very important, and he's doing a big job for us. Many people don't realise what he's doing for us, but he is actually cooking right now. He's cooking because, do you know, when you don't hear a lot of your defensive midfielder, or a midfielder who's just doing the dirty work, that's when you know he's doing a great job. That's when you know your midfielders are doing what they're meant to be doing. They're not in the limelight for making a missed pass or doing this or doing that or having to work hard. They're just quietly getting the ball and pushing it forward. And that's all you want from him and Casemiro. And they're doing a fantastic job, man. Them two, they're building up. partnership in that midfield. I mean, we've not seen one of those partnerships in a long bloody time. I swear, I've been crying out for something like this, crying out, and we finally get two players that are just. They look comfortable. They look comfortable next to each other. They're just controlling the midfield. They're controlling games, and that's what was missing under Ruben Amorim. Never did I feel like I could rest. Never did I feel like, even going up 2 goals, did I feel like, which was very rare. I can't remember going 2 goals up against any team when it was Ruben Amorim. But I never felt like we were comfortable. Never felt like we were in control. So yeah, great shout. What was nice, Boxing Freaks, welcome mate, hope you're doing well, hope you enjoyed the weekend's fixtures and obviously the win. What was nice is that the goal wasn't due to them not having enough men, because it was an aerial ball man versus man. It was, you're talking about the Sesko goal. For me, it was just perfect from start to finish. It was one of those goals that you could see coming. You could see it. I was on the edge of my seat and I was thinking, right, Bruno's got the ball. Sesko's right there in between the 2 centre-backs. And you could see his positioning. Bruno, you can see what he's going to do before he actually does it. It's quite obvious now, having watched him for such a long time, that he positions his body in a way he's going to curl it in, he's going to put it into the area. And what a sweet pass that was. I mean, that was a beautiful assist. Really, really, really good. And Mbeumo needs a rest, I think. Yeah, I mean, Mbeumo was off it for some reason. I wasn't sure why. Personally, I thought it was Ahmad. I thought, look, Mbeumo gets a lot of the limelight, but I think that's because when Ahmad's playing next to him, Ahmad's dragging out the defenders, and when the defenders are running out to Ahmad trying to close him down, Mbeumo gets that, a yard or 2 of space to do his magic. And I think he wasn't getting that yesterday because Sesko has got the centre backs, but then they're staying in their positions. They're not moving out of that position, and Mbeumo just felt like he was just struggling. He was coming back, trying to get the ball, but really struggled, I felt like. Again, I'm not pointing fingers at him. I'm just saying, look, I guess we're expecting him to do a lot more for us. Kuna did some nice work in the second half, winning the penalty. I think people who are complaining, asking, what if he didn't go down? He would have been through on goal with a chance at goal. I think that's a little bit harsh. I think he still had loads to do, even though he got through on goal. I don't think he would have put it into the net. That's my personal opinion. He could have curled it in. He could have done a nice finesse corner spot, but Henderson was in goal. There was another the centre-back was running in as well. Lots could have happened from that moment. If you pause the game immediately when he's fouled, he still has lots to do. And I think he did the right thing, because we also got the red card from it as well. So that, for me, I guess, is the bonus of him going down. So you're gonna Kuna is a seasoned pro. What I mean by that is he knows the dark arts, right? He's a master of the dark arts. There's a few players that are like that at United, and I think we need to be. Unfortunately, this is the modern game. You need to have players who can do that when you need them to slow the game down and get you some openings. That's what they can do. The master of dark arts. And I feel like some of them are lacking that. Some of them are just too good for themselves. They need to be a little bit more, use the ref at times. So probably would have been a goal anyway. Yeah, maybe. I don't know, man. I think it would have been it was a very difficult chance. Carrick said Luke Shaw is ill. He was feeling rough, not his fault. Oh, that's great news. That is great news. I missed that in the presser. I must have flipping fell asleep whilst he's talking, which is quite possible when it comes to Michael Carrick's pressers. But if that is the news, and it was just because he's ill and wasn't feeling well, that is great news, so we can have him back against Newcastle. Now, I mean, look, Luke Shaw, it's not because I think he's the best player we've got in that position. I just feel like we need stability, and I don't want to be changing and chopping the teams right now. I want the team to stay as it is, and so the players are familiar with each other, so they know, right, okay, I've got Luke Shaw there, Len Euro, Maguire, we've got Dalot, and I'm not a big fan of Dalot either, but at the same time, I want to keep the team unchanged because we are being successful right now with this team. And I don't want any excuses either. So I don't want players to kind of be like, oh, we're going into the Newcastle game and we kind of didn't do well because we're missing a player like Luke Shaw or somebody else. I don't want that. I want everyone to be like, right, on their A game, we've got the team that did well against all the other teams. So we go again. Jim says they're playing for Carrick at the moment. We all know they can switch off at any time. We need a coach who can combat. Not sure Carrick can. It's all going Carrick's way. What will happen when it's not? Really good point there, Jim. Really good point. I think we might all of us be getting somewhat carried away, including myself, I must admit, with Carrick and his man management and the way he's doing. And you could be right. They are playing for Carrick. What if we go through a bit of a storm, shall I say? A storm's a big word, actually, but a blip. If we go through a blip, that's the important thing. I think the West Ham one was a little bit of a blip, I must admit. And we came out good the next game. So I'm hoping that Carrick continues getting the best out of the players, and the players then start realising that they've got to carry this forward. It's not just on the manager. It can't just be the manager who's getting the best out of them. Carrick's not taking any of the plaudits, by the way. He's saying, look, it's not me, it's the players. It's not me. I'm not doing anything. I'm just simply putting my arm around them and telling them just to go out and play. Yes, of course, Carrick is lining them up in a certain way, telling them exactly how to play, but the rest of the talking is done by the players. So I think I get your point, but I also think the players surely will have to have some belief in themselves and their own abilities now. If they don't, then it is a huge problem. But I'm fearful, like you said, that the players have got the ability to switch off. We've seen it in the past, and that was the fear I had in the first half. On the weekend, I was thinking, shit, have these players switched off again? Has someone switched off that magical switch somewhere in Old Trafford where the players just turn into semi-pros or something? But they came back better in the second half. The penalty was lucky. Yellow card would have been better. I don't think it would have been better, Jim. I think the red card was perfect, but I know what you mean. I think the yellow card may have been a fair outcome, but I wasn't complaining. The rules are that you impede a goal opportunity. So Rick is not having any of it. Rick is like, no, I'm taking it with both hands. I don't give a shit what the decision was. We'll take that red card all day long. I think I'm thinking the same. I'm thinking I feel a little bit sorry for Crystal Palace and Glasner that they got the red card, but I don't really care. I mean, I'm happy. I was happy that we got that opportunity because without it, I think we would have struggled. I think we were playing well, but I also felt like that. Yeah, we finally got an opportunity when we got the sending off. Of course, it gave us that impetus to really go and get the 2 goals. As I say, he was the last defender beaten. Kuna would have had a free shot on goal. If there was no foul, why did he go down? Slow motion looks a dive, but it's momentum. No, I definitely think it's a foul. Whoa, let me make it clear. It's a definite foul. 100% it's a foul. Kuna didn't go down just because he felt like he wanted to buy a penalty. Absolutely not. It was 100% foul. What the question mark was on whether, number one, the first question mark was whether the foul took place in the area or not. That was touch and go. That could have gone either way. But then the other question was whether it was a clear goal-scoring opportunity or not. That's when I was a bit like, okay. I don't know if it was, but then you might be right. He might look. I need to watch it again, but I've watched about 5 times already, by the way. But was it a clear goal-scoring opportunity? I've watched some games where the refs have said no to them kind of opportunities, saying no, it's not a clear goal-scoring opportunity because there was another defender coming in, so anything could have happened. But then at the same time, yeah, the ref had a watch of it and gave what he gave. So I'm not complaining, man. I'm not complaining. I'm taking it. I'm happy with that. When you hold someone outside the box, hold them inside the box, then let go inside, it's a penalty because the force of letting them go is what makes them trip. So you're saying because he held him outside and then essentially let him go as he got into the area, that's all. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll give you that logic, man. I'm looking for excuses, by the way. I'm looking for reasons to confirm it wasn't a soft. I thought it was soft when I was watching it, but if you're going to convince me, boxing freaks, I'm going to go with you. Lead me down that garden path. If you're telling me it was a foul and it was worthy of a red card, I'm going to say, yes, it was. That's it. Yes, I'm happy to hear that. I'm really happy. I know it's selfish, isn't it? It's selfish. But look, football is a game of luck. It's a game of these kind of sliding door moments. And of course, sometimes it goes against you. Sometimes it goes with you. Yesterday, we got that opening that went for us, and I'm not going to complain. There'll be some games that we come against where things don't go with us. I mean, or in our way. I mean, I can't remember which game it was. Was it the West Ham game where we were getting caught offside by a slither, like a finger or a hand or something stupid, like half a foot? And I just felt like, shit, this is not going in our favour. But that's it. Some games, you get that. You get no luck of the green. Whereas now, rub of the green, but now you do. Look, for me, it was important. We won next game. We win the next game, says Rick. I like your encouragement, as you've said, 3-1 to Manchester United against Newcastle. I wish I could share your enthusiasm and confidence. I just feel like Newcastle are like a wounded tiger. They're gonna be out for revenge. They didn't have a good weekend, and I feel like they're gonna be really up for some. Obviously, they're at home, St James's Park. Home fans, home crowd will be really wanting a result against United, and I feel like they might just kind of come out just throwing their hands up in the air saying, we've got nothing to flipping lose. Let's just go out there and flipping kill it. That's what I feel like. Whereas the more time goes on, these games that United are involved in, the more I feel like United are going to be like, shit, we're on this winning run. We don't want to lose a game. And I think that could backfire because they could be starting to look over their shoulder, starting to look ahead at the top three positions, and they could start worrying about something that's not actually there, which is they might be worried about losing this, win streak and this not losing. And so I think that could work against us. It could also work with us. I've said, look, confidence, it could build our confidence, but I think it's going to be a difficult game. It will be tough, but we have the confidence on our side. Yeah. Look, the last away game against West Ham, we need to learn from that. Number one, we can't respect the opposition. We're the team in form. We need to turn up and we need to be the ones taking the game to Newcastle. We can't allow them time on the ball and we can't allow them to dictate how the game's going to be played out. Or else, and especially getting that early first goal. For me, away games, if you get a first goal, it completely silences the crowd and you get a psychological edge over the opposition. The moment you allow them to play good football and get that first goal, then it's almost like an uphill battle to kind of fight your way back into the game. So against Newcastle, it's going to be a tricky game. I think Eddie Howe is, again, got his back to the wall. He's going to be saying to his players, look, you guys need to go out there and give the home crowd something to cheer about tonight. So you need to go out there and do this. I think one positive is that this game's coming pretty fast on the back of the weekend fixtures. So we've got Tuesday and then Wednesday night, we've got the game. That's really good, again, because I feel like the shorter gaps, the better it is for United, because I feel like the players go off the edge a little bit. Right now, United will be raring to go again. Newcastle, having just been defeated, might be still licking their wounds, might still be psychologically damaged, and boom, we come in with a killer blow. And it will be a killer blow for Newcastle because, let's be honest, they're awful right now. Absolutely awful. But again, against United, every team turns up the style. Every team turns up against United. So you can't take anything for granted when it comes to, playing against United or playing teams playing against us. Now, let's look at, as I promised, I'm going to look ahead at the fixtures today. So let's look at these fixtures because they're important, but they're important. We need to look at these fixtures, right? Where's my camera? Right, here we go. So these are the fixtures. Let me just take a Rick off for a moment. So these are the fixtures, guys, right? We've got these fixtures. Obviously, Everton, great win, hard fought win. That was a proper man's football game. I mean, really had to grind that one out. But that is what shows you that this team can do that. Anyway, the next game is against Newcastle. Then it's Villa, which is another huge game at home. But I feel like at home, United should have the edge over Villa, especially if we can do the job over Newcastle. I think Newcastle is another team that I think is a difficult one to beat. It's a difficult one to beat. United always struggle against certain teams in the recent era. Newcastle is one of those teams that United kind of haven't got the better of fully. They did at home last time, but I feel like this time United, they're going to struggle. They're going to struggle. It's not going to be an easy game. I still feel like United will be carrying the confidence into this game. That's a big, big plus. But I think United need to also be aware that Newcastle will be looking for revenge, not just for the home game that we beat them at Old Trafford, but also right now their fans will not accept anything mediocre. They will be on their back saying, you guys need to pull your finger out, right? Eddie Howe's under pressure. The players will be under pressure. And then comes the Villa game, of course. I think Unai Emery, again, as I've said, will look to do a job on United, but I feel like United will have the better of Villa. They got lucky against us when we were away to them. I thought it was a lucky game. Then, Bournemouth. Then we got Leeds. Then we got Chelsea, and then we've got Brentford. I know we've got Liverpool after that as well, and a few other games before the season comes to a final end. We got Liverpool, and then, So look, the games are not going to be easy. No game's easy. I look at all them games, I look at all those fixtures, and I think there's nothing easy. I can't see anything easy there. And I don't expect any game to be easy because this is the Premier League. We are looking at a league where every game is difficult, but if we can have our players on form, if we can have our players cooking, then of course we've got a chance. Of course we've got a chance if Kuna is cooking, if Mbuma's cooking, and the players are on form. But I don't want to take anything for granted. I don't want to take any game for granted. Every game that we're going into, we need to be on 100%. We can't start in first gear like we did yesterday or then move up to second and third. Unfortunately, we can't do that. We can't do that anymore. Yesterday's start was poor, and Carrick alluded to that. He said, look, in the presser, it wasn't a good start. It wasn't a good start, and we slowly came into the game near the end of the first half. But we can't do that. We can't do that against oppositions like Newcastle and Aston Villa because the game might get away from us there by then. Newcastle away. Welcome MUFC Enigma to the show. Thank you for dropping your comment and joining us. I always like hearing from new fans and their thoughts on what's going on. Newcastle away be tough. They've had more recovery and have no travel, and we are every club's cup final. Absolutely, form is irrelevant when it comes to United. Unfortunately for us, well, that's a great comment. We are every bloody team's cup final. You go to what was it? We went to Everton. It was like a flipping cup final for him. I mean, the Scousers were up for it. I mean, I was surprised at the atmosphere at Everton. The same thing with West Ham. I mean, the crowd was just on the back of the players, even if they didn't want to perform. That kind of home atmosphere just gets you going. And That's unfortunate for United because United are a big scalp. Even now, I know it sounds crazy to maybe non-United fans, but United are big team. It's a big team. When Man United turn up, it's a ticket. It's the main event. It's the main event in the season, and everyone's watching. Everyone wants to come up and watch Man United stars play against their team, and they want their team to do a job on them. So yeah, absolutely, I think it's going to be a very difficult one. The travel factor, it could come in. The rest factor, it could come in. I don't feel like it should be an excuse. I don't feel like these players have been working out of their socks so much. I mean, they've been doing a decent amount of running, but not as much as you'd expect. Would you start Casemiro and Maguire Wednesday, given the very short rest recovery time? Absolutely, man. Absolutely, Enigma. I would have to. I'm a big advocate. I'm a big fan of keeping a winning team the same. You've heard me on the channel. I know it sounds boring. I know Luman and a few others are like, we want to change. We want it changed. We want to change it. We want to see changes every game. We want to see tactical changes by Carrick, and we want to see players coming in and out and rotation. But I just feel like you can't change a winning formula. You've got to keep the players on the pitch if they're giving you the performances. Harry Maguire looked shattered when he came off. Harry Maguire was a concern. I mean, maybe that was why Carrick took him off. I wasn't quite sure why Carrick took Harry Maguire off. I was kind of surprised because Carrick normally doesn't want to really take off centre-back pairings, but he brought on Haven, and I was a bit like, okay, that's strange. Why is Harry Maguire going off? But maybe that is it. Maybe is the rest factor was at play there. And look, for me, Carrick's done a brilliant job. Carrick is brilliant, and it's not a shock to me that everyone at Manchester United has a feeling that Michael Carrick has chances of staying as the permanent head coach. The feeling around Carrick is increasingly positive. It's not decided yet, but we all kind of know. It's kind of the ball's in his court right now. If he messes things up, I think things could go pear-shaped, but he'll have to do, like I say, a huge cock-up job to lose this opportunity. I think he's definitely in the running for whatever, what he's done so far. So even if things don't go right in the remaining part of the season, which I don't feel like that's going to happen, but if they don't, for whatever reason, I still feel like he's still got his name in the hat. Of course he has now. He's done enough to at least be considered. But I think, of course, if there's a drop-off in form, and like Jim said earlier in the show, if we get tested and if there is a shock loss somewhere on the table, somewhere in these games, and let's be honest, they're not easy games. We're actually facing some big games in the next couple of weeks, in the next couple of months, and we could end up losing. That is a scary thought right now. It's a scary thought, but it could happen. And that is when you look at Michael Carrick and see what he does the next game. Does he do an Alex Ferguson? Does he pick up the team and say, I want to see a better performance next game? I want to see a reaction to that loss or that draw. Against West Ham, we've got to say that he came back and he answered his critics. We came back against Everton and they gave us a hard bloody match, man. They gave us a hard match, and I thought that was a very, very good performance. I thought yesterday's performance was probably below the performance against Everton. I thought the game against Everton, we were good throughout the game. We were played really well. We were solid. We had to be on our A game, and we were. And that's just simply because of their bloody corners and everything else. But it was a hard game. It was a hard game. Look, but anyway, coming back to the fixtures, of course, look, we're gonna have a struggle. It's not going to be easy for us. There's going to be lots of games in there that you look at and think, right, they're big games. Every game there is huge. Every game, Chelsea, Brentford, Liverpool, even Bournemouth. These teams are performing really, really well. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard, but I think United have got that aura about themselves again, man. This is the United that we've always seen in the past. a United team that does know how to turn up the pressure when the going gets tough. Oh, when they've been given the opportunity yesterday, that throwing the kitchen sink, or almost like throwing the kitchen sink at the game when we went, we went 11 against 10. That for me was United of old. That's what United did. Right? Okay, we've got the opportunity. We're going to go for it now. That's it. You have to defend because we're going to want more and more goals. And it felt like every attack United were going to score. We could have made it 3-1. We could have made it 4-1. It could have been a very convincing scoreline. Unfortunately, it wasn't. I think I'm not bothered about the scoreline as long as we're getting the 3 points right now. I'm happy for getting the 3 points and moving on. Steph, welcome. Yeah, better late than never. You've missed most of the show. I was literally gonna go. I was like, right, okay, do you know what? I'm gonna call it a day, guys. But Casemiro saving his headed goal for Barcodes on Wednesday night. Oh, do you know what? He missed the opportunity in the first half, and I thought, how the F did you miss that chance? I mean, Casemiro, if anybody who you wanted on the ball to head of the ball at that position, it was Casemiro. If you remember, guys, first half, I think it was midway first half, and Casemiro got an absolute peach of an opportunity, just simply headed the ball in from about 2 yards out of goal, and he missed the bloody target. I mean, how did he manage that? I mean, I was really, really seething, but again, I'm not going to hold it against him. As long as he scores against Barcodes, of course, I want to see that. I want to see some success against Newcastle. These kind of games are the ones where I watch and I think, right, this is the big test. Can we go and do it away at St James's? Can we go and do it here? Can we go and do there? So look, it's going to be a big game. I'm already looking forward to it. Immediately after Sunday night, I'm like, boom, let's bring on the next game. Bring on the next game. We want another game. Because when you're doing well, you want to see more games. You don't want gaps in your fixtures. And I think that's really important. I think if you're losing, you want time to kind of lick your wounds, get back up to pace and things like that. But for me, I absolutely want to be just going straight into the next game. Henderson was determined to do well against, and absolutely always. I mean, Henderson is an arsehole, isn't he? He's a pain in the arse. He's a pain in the arse. Always comes up trumps against United. I hate playing against him. You don't understand how much. I mean, immediately when the game kicked off and I was like, bloody Henderson. We're up against Henderson, and watch him play like prime Buffon or something, right, today. Because that's what he bloody does. He's shit against every other opposition, but when it comes against United, he's got this bone to pick with United, hasn't he? That, you let me go, and I'm the best goalkeeper ever, and you let me go, and how dare you do that? And I'm going to prove to you that you shouldn't have let me go. That's all it is. And yeah, every time he comes up against us, he just comes out with some crazy saves, and you think, only against us, you arsehole. Why are you doing that? Let a goal go in. Come on, for all time's sake. Casemiro will be missed because of his goals, though I think whoever we get to replace his combative midfield style mixed with range of passing will need our attackers to add his goal count to theirs. Yeah, that is a real concern. It is a real concern. A great point, though. I mean, we've all been talking about who could replace Casemiro. Who could it be that could be that guy who jumps in instead of Casemiro next season? Because, look, I don't think he's going to change his mind. I think the question was posed to Carrick about, will Casemiro be given maybe another contract extension for a year, given that his form is so good right now? But you're right. I think not only is he defensively really good for us, but he gives us that aerial threat. Defensively, he's brilliant. He clears corners and whatnot, but then he gets his goals. He's got a handful of goals so far this season, and crucial goals, I'd say. And not only just with his head, actually. I think he scored a couple with some decent shots. So overall, I think he is one of those guys that we're going to find very difficult to replace. It's one of those players that you're going to miss once he's gone, and you're going to think, shit, he was actually cooking for us. He was really pivotal for us. We need to go out and make a huge signing. So, Boxing Freaks, for me, it is the biggest signing of the transfer window. This summer transfer window, forget every other position. we need to pull out the stops and go and get one of the biggest summer signings to replace Casemiro. If we really mean business, if we really want to show the rest of the Premier League that we are serious about competing for the title and competing in the Champions League, it's a must. It's an absolute must. Or else we're going to do what most clubs do, which is we get ourselves in the Champions League, we don't improve the squad, we go again next season, we're overstretched, we screw up everything. Not only the Premier League, not only the Champions League, everything. We win nothing. We've seen that happen to teams this year where they've gone in to this. Look, Newcastle is a prime example. Newcastle is a prime example. They've been overstretched and they didn't do enough business in the summer, in my opinion. The players that they brought in simply were not good enough. They had a decent start, the signings did, Voldemade or whatever. They had a decent spell, but they needed more. They needed more players and they didn't really go and do that. I was kind of surprised, actually. I was surprised. I thought Newcastle would be going out there and doing more business. Yes, they lost out on Sesko, but they should have brought in more players. And I thought they got a bit unlucky because I think every target they were going for kept kind of getting screwed over for them and it kept going somewhere else. Scott Gator, welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. We are scraping wins and it won't last. No style of play at the moment. Okay, interesting take. I mean, but you know you could argue that as well. You could argue that we the last couple of games we've got lucky. We have got lucky. I'm not gonna take that away from you. I think the last couple of games have been worrying because we've seen glimpses of the old United. So something has to be done about that. And if I was Michael Carrick, I would be looking at why we've kind of dropped back into that old form, why it looks like we've switched back off again when it comes to these games. Is it because of the opposition? Is it because we struggle against the low block teams, the Crystal Palaces, the West Hams and the Evertons? And do we think we're going to do slightly better against Everton? We'll wait and see. But Scott, we have to make these points, and I thank you for making that point because yeah, there is a temptation to get carried away. We as fans, because we haven't seen success for such a long time, that we do get carried away. I get carried away. I certainly do. I mean, the only one who keeps me, my feet on the ground is Jim when he comes on and he's like, calm down, guys. This is, there are some problems here. So yeah, I guess we do need to keep an eye on the performances overall and say, look, have they been convincing as they should have been? Against Crystal Palace yesterday, the second half was brilliant. First half, no, not at all. And yeah, we got lucky. Our passing in the first half of the last three games has been atrocious. We need an early goal to settle us down. Yeah, we need an early goal, but we just need to be more on it. I just feel like we're just not aggressive enough. We're just like out of the blocks really slow. Now, if we're playing against a top team that come at us and bring the game to us, I think we could struggle. But then again, I feel like United struggle against the teams that they're having to take the game to. So Crystal Palace were never going to come at United. It was shocking that they've got the first goal that early on. But United struggle to take the game to other teams, and somehow we need to change that up. I think that's maybe why Sesko was introduced, because we knew that they're going to play a low block, so we might have to put them balls in, cross in at every opportunity, and Sesko might get on to one of them, which he did. I would get him to sign 1 year, also get a replacement. We have every competition to play for. Yeah, that's a good point, man. I think, look, if we could, I would probably give him a year's extension. I would do that. I don't know if he would take it, though. I really think that he's made his mind up. I think he's thinking, that's enough. This is my last time out. I'm going to just kind of give it a rest and go off. And on that note, we need players to replace injury-prone players, because one game a week is fine now, but next season we've got De Ligt, Martinez, Mount, always injured. Add Luke Shaw to that as well. De Ligt, we were talking about him just the other day, about his back injury, and I was thinking this is another long-term injury that De Ligt suffered. For me, it's a big issue. De Ligt is a problem. Martinez, again, we Boxing Freak have discussed this a couple of times in our streams, that this is becoming a regular occurrence with Martinez. Mount, well, no one needs to say anything about Mount. We all know he's injury prone. I even feel like, I hate to say it, but if we can sell Mount, I think it's the time to sell him. Because I just feel like, look, I don't think he can cut it. I don't think he can cut it, and we can't carry players like Mount throughout this season, especially if we want to be challenging for titles and trophies. You can't carry players like that. And you got to remember, we're paying a huge salary still to these players. Would you rather take a young player instead of Mount, and someone who can actually work and give some options to Carrick if Carrick is the next permanent manager at United? For me, it is worrying. We need squad depth. Absolutely, man. We have got problems about our team. Talking about slow starts, people talk about one game a week saying we should be fit. We're just not sharp. Exactly my point. 1 week a game affects sharpness, would make training more intense, hard. Do you know what? That's exactly it. Now, if you've played football at any level, you having a gap between games is awful. It's awful. And you are off it. You're off it. You need to be on it constantly. You know, a game a week is simply just about enough. And the moment you stretch that out to maybe a week and a half or 2 weeks, the players are not up to speed. You see that when players get injured, even for a short time, they're out for a week or two, they come back and they're not up to speed. That's exactly what we're seeing. And I think the worst case scenario was by sending the players off on holiday. I mean, what is all that about? Really, really need to get our shit together, because I think we have got lucky. We have got lucky in these last couple of games, and it's taken, you know, something out of us to come back in again. But we need to be really going for it from the first whistle right to the 90th minute. Here's a question. Lacey almost scored, but outside of that, do people really think he's ready for the first 11? Seen a lot of people mentioning the youngsters, but not convinced. Look, it's a great point, but I feel like Carrick hasn't got the games to offer any run out to any of these young players right now. Right now, Carrick's thinking, right, we've got Premier League and only Premier League. I've got a chance to get them in the Champions League, and I can't take any risks on playing any youngsters or bringing them in. And we've not really been in a position where we've taken like a 2-3 goal lead where you can maybe make wholesale changes and give a run out to a couple of youngsters. So, yeah, I mean, I think Carrick's hands have been tied at that. But, yeah, I would like to see the youngsters come in. I know next season we've got that coming. I think we're hearing more and more that the youngsters will be promoted. Not seeing Menu levels, for examples. Yeah, I know what you mean. Missing Leacher, line-breaking passings, maybe. Yeah, look, he's a miss. He's an absolute miss. For me, he's a miss. I don't know what everyone else's take on it. Look, Yoro did a decent job yesterday. I felt like, to blame for the first goal. I felt like, you know, he needed to use a bit of the dark arts kind of thing. You needed to nudge the player, need to take him off his balance, something to, you know, put him off even before the ball got to him. So for me, Lenny Euro it was an inexperience. I think if Leacher was there, even though given his height, I bet you $1 million he would have taken the guy out. He would have taken him out before the ball got there. Not obviously making it obvious enough to get a penalty, but he would have taken him out enough, or he would have put him off. Somehow he would have put him off, and that wouldn't have been a goal. Jim says we have 5 or 6 players injured or could be injured at any time. Training is being cut, so our fitness is suffering, in my view. Stop pandering to the players. It will bite us in the arse next season. Yeah, for me, we need to work these players. If they don't cut the mustard, we need to sell him. That's all it is. I don't understand why it's United who just hang on to players who are injury prone. We know who they are. And I'm not being harsh. It's not that I don't like Mason Mount. I think he's a really nice guy. I really do. Off the field, I've heard lots of positive things about him. Comes across really nice, really a nice chap, like a lovely fella. But if he can't play enough football for us and give us options, then unfortunately, there's no point to him being a nice fella, right? I mean, yeah, all well and good, but we're a football club. We need to be winning. We can't have nice players. We can't have nice guys on the team. We need some players who are dirty. We need players who can do the dirty work for us. And we need players who can, go in there week in, week out and give themselves constant performance to United. And that's why you can't really criticise the players that are playing regularly for United who are not injury prone, and we need to make them regulars. And the ones who are picking up injuries consistently, we need to start thinking about selling them off. So for me, Luke Shaw, definite. For me, Mount is another definite. De Ligt is a huge concern. Yes, he's had some decent games for us this season, but this is, I think, his second or third major injury in his career. I mean, he's still bloody young, and for having picked up so many injuries is a concern. Leacher has this season become a major concern, having picked up 2 serious injuries already. Again, out. Is this the start of the beginning of the end for Leacher in terms of injuries? Training needs to manage injuries. I would think it's a snake eating its own tail a bit. It stops injuries but affects sharpness. We just need to last 10 games. I hope that after 3 or 4 we have them back. The big issue what we have is we've got a huge break, almost a month in March between the fixtures. For me, that's a problem. What I would do, and I think that's what United are probably going to do anyway, they might go away with the players, maybe to a more warmer climate, and do some training there, get the players reignited somehow, maybe help with the recovery, injuries, whatnot, and have a full team available when we go again after that huge gap. That would be the ideal scenario for me, because then we can go into the last 6 games of the Premier League with a full squad of players, healthy players, all raring to go. But it's easier said than done. I mean, I'm putting it out here like it's next to nothing, but it's a very difficult thing to achieve. The balance is very, very difficult, because even in training, Leacher picked up the injury in training, so that's another concern for the coaching staff, thinking, shit, are we overworking them? Are we not? What's going on? So things like that are always tricky. Haven is very comfortable on the ball. I can see him alternating with Euro again. Do you know what, Steph? That's a really good point, because I would have preferred Haven to start over Euro. I know that sounds controversial to some of you, but I would have liked to see Haven in there, because I think, again, if Haven was playing from the start, Haven would have taken out the danger for that first goal from Crystal Palace. That's my opinion anyway. I think Haven's a lot more aggressive, and better on the ball, I think. But Lenny Euro has got that burst of pace as well, so you can have it both ways, I guess. Boxing fees, if that's the case, players are not good enough, less training, more chance of muscle injuries, I would have thought. Yeah, look, it is. It's one of those where you can't have it both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it. Either way, we've got to either train or we've got to give up on match sharpness. Which one is it? I think right now we're getting the lack of match sharpness, hence why it took us a good 30 minutes or 40 minutes to wake up and start playing football yesterday. That's not good enough. That is not good enough. If we are like that in other games, thankfully we've got Newcastle, and I'm happy that we've got them in a couple of days, because I think the players will be picking up from where they left off against Crystal Palace. But the gap between Villa, then the gap again, will have huge gaps, and I think match sharpness will be a huge issue. Build up muscle, less chance of muscle injuries. Yeah, good point. I'm going to leave it there, guys. It's been a great show. I want to thank you, everybody who's jumped on the chat and had their say this morning. It's always lovely to hear from everybody. This is a show not about me voicing my opinions, but you guys voicing your opinions and having a say about United's performances, upcoming games and everything else. And it's always enjoyable to hear you guys have your opinions aired. And of course, I want to thank you to the mods on the show. always doing a great job. Jim, Steph, Rick, everybody else who's been on. Boxing Freaks has made some really good points today as well. Everybody, thank you very much. Take care, and I'll see you next time tomorrow, hopefully.